All right, Grasshoppers. It is Monday, a little after 11:30. I don't mean be too harsh on our guest here or our co-podcaster, but he's a little bit selfish. He's wearing a sweatshirt. People expect to see a little bit of skin when you come on the show. Mark Puttenvink, how are you doing?
I'm great. I think it's gonna be a while before we're going tank tops here.
Yeah, it'll get a little cold. So yeah, people that don't know, Mark has a company called Patriot Training Systems. Great trainer, trained with the New York Rangers, New England Patriots, other people, a lot of military personnel, kids, women, whatever. He can train anybody. We didn't have a show last week. What did we do last week?
It's a holiday. You had a
right.
Ranger thing, yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yes, a Ranger event. Actually, we're doing a lot of Ranger stuff. Got another event.
Yeah, I see that. That's cool.
Yeah, that's good. A lot of good stuff. How was your weekend? Did you watch football?
Saturday. So there's a gentleman.
Oh yes,
family in Mendham, New Jersey. Very gracious guy, family, and he's been very fortunate. He'd be the first one to admit it, and he's very giving. So, but he has twin boys. I'm going to say they're probably like that 12 to 14 age. I'm not really sure. They both play travel hockey, I believe, with not sure, the Rockets maybe. I'm not entirely sure. But anyhow, he built an outdoor rink on his property. It's a fairly good size sheet. And if I remember correctly, I think it's 50 by like 100 something. Right. So let me turn this off. And so we had our second annual Warriors Classic. So we just split the guys up. We play 3-on-3 for a couple hours. We have food and it was a fun event. He's got big scoreboard, and we do the national anthem, and it's a great day. So that was good.
People that don't know, the Warriors that Mark mentioned is the New Jersey Warriors. I've got a hat that you would
there you go. Yeah.
It's all veterans that get together and play hockey. Really helps guys suffering from PTSD and all these different things that they have to deal with. So great job. Mark does this with his business partner. What's your partner's name that you do that with?
Ted Curtin.
That's right. We love him because he picked me up. We're at the swim across the Hudson. He picked me up in his pickup truck. And I said, this truck, thinking he's the pickup truck guy, but his wife does construction. So she's got the pickup truck. So I'm dying to meet her. So that's good.
She's a great lady. She's a great lady, Kathy.
Yeah. But it's interesting item. Buddy of mine, we're decent friends, but Rob Burnett used to, I think he's the executive director or producer or something with the David Letterman show. And he's done well in life too. And here in Greenwich, he's done the same thing. He has a rink that he's built in the backyard, beautiful, low lights. And I think it's kind of a log stone cabin that they use, like the fireplace and the whole bit. Yeah. And he has a league that they call the BHL, the Burnett Hockey League. And it's unique. Yeah, it's funny because there's no teams. Players rotate around from team to team, and they keep record of the individual's record. And then the highest guys with the best records play in a final game. And they do the same thing. He makes it a real event, has the cheerleaders and the food truck and the whole bit. And he tapes it all, puts it to music. It's fun. He invited myself and Brendan Shanahan one time, years ago, before Shanahan took the job with Toronto Maple Leafs to kind of be the celebrities there, so to speak. So it was a lot of fun. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, just a fun. It's we had really good weather because last year we did it. It was just god awful cold.
Oh,
it was painfully cold.
Right.
And I don't go out there and skate. It's just the guys. So last year, just standing around, I was like,
that's worse.
But, so it was a great day. And then yesterday I watched the football, which was just, I've been kind of like struggling internally with whether to watch the football because I'm not happy with their slant on things, so to speak. But tremendous. Tom Brady is just whether you like him or not, the guy's a freak, man.
Oh, yeah. How about the Kansas City Buffalo game? Those two quarterbacks. Wow. The sad thing is for us people in New York here with the Giants and the Jets as our teams, you see how far away we are from those teams, right? Not the quarterbacks, the other players and everything. So,
yeah, that's the thing. If you look at all the games, the four quarterbacks are probably potentially – well, Brady's definitely a Hall of Famer. And the other guys certainly show
the Holmes, Josh Allen, totally, yeah. I agree. That was good stuff. Yeah, exciting stuff too, right? Like closer games. Like the bad thing the weekend before was some of those games were blowouts. There's still good football, but these games being so close, good, definitely. So big news: the Greenwich Girls High School team has made the FCIAC playoffs, which is a big thing. We won yesterday 4-1 up in Shelton, Connecticut against Trumbull. Yeah, big game. It was a big game for us. We actually played much better. Full credits to the head coach Brooke Heron. she's got she's really worked hard in the conditioning and skill level and strategies and everything. So she's good. I just stand there on the bench and cheer them on.
You look pretty.
That's right on the eye candy. They're in trouble. They're in trouble if that's the case. How you been doing? How you doing with all the training? You got that young lady you started to train that she'd never really boxed before, right? And you're training her. How's she doing?
Never boxed. And I'll tell you what, she's coming along really well. She's, you can, when you're teaching someone to box, because it is a pretty complex skill set, you can see who's athletic and who isn't, man or woman, doesn't matter. Right. She's very athletic, right, and she's very determined. And we did some work Thursday, and she's really putting her combinations together and really punching hard. And I think part of that was it might have been a boy issue, I think, last week. So she's a little bit extra motivated, but she's a great girl. And to her credit, she at one point not too long ago weighed 175 pounds.
You told me that. That's right. Yeah.
And she kind of educated herself on nutrition and training. And she has kind of a business where she, I guess, does recipes and training advice and stuff like that. But to her credit, she puts the old pictures up. She doesn't hide the fact of where she was and where she is now. And she's very dedicated young lady. And she's only 24, but she's one of those girls at 24 is so much more mature than myself included. Than most people I know. Yeah.
Yeah. It is interesting coaching the women, right? These girls that I coach are fantastic. I love coaching them. I've said this many times. I coached boys for years, and like all teenage boys, like I was, and probably like you were, I didn't listen to anybody, right? And the boys didn't want to listen either. The girls, though, they soak everything in. And you could tell the things that myself and the head coach Brooke were trying to teach them. They really sink in, and they're really on the ice trying to do the things that you've asked them to do. They're fantastic. But you talk about the boys. There's some things that I had two sons too that I know you did. So dealing with teenage girls and the boys, your son to draw.
It's different.
Thank God the head coach is a woman. She's
the way I first met Ted Curtin was he was coaching, and he did for many years, the Quarry Cats, which was a girls travel program out of Montclair, New Jersey. And they would have a summer camp, and they would bring me in to do some off-ice stuff with the girls. And they were about, I guess, 12 and 13. And I would come home, and Beth would look at me and she'd go, "You okay?" I'd be like, they just were really a handful because that's the age when they started noticing the boys. And my son Sean was probably about the same age at that point. And they were all like, "Is Sean coming today?" No. But it's interesting because like they do tend to pay a little bit more attention to what you're saying.
Yeah. But there's the ups and downs with the drama a little bit.
I think the funny, or not the funniest, but one of the funny. So Randy Velishek, I don't know if you remember Randy, played for down here for a bit. He used to do this prep school camp, and he'd bring me into the camp, right? Yeah. So I bring all the girls out. It was co-ed, but I brought out the girls to the field. We're going to do some running and whatnot. And I guess they were like 8, 9, 10-year-old little cute girls, right? And I said to the one girl, "Why is that girl sitting over there?" So this girl's like, "Well, that's the sad bench." I'm like, What's the sad bench? "Well, she's sad, so she's going to sit there." So why is she sad? "Well, she wasn't included in, how girls can be." Something they were doing. And it just struck me as well. Okay, this is going to be a little bit different training today.
I know.
It is sad bench.
Yeah. So the head coach, again, she'll obviously the girls can feel comfortable talking to her about the problems, not me. And she comes back and tells me the situation. Oh, man. And again, I want to make sure I say it right. They're fantastic coaching. It's just girls. But different stuff.
I had I've been very fortunate, Tom, as you know, to train really high level tier 1, either athletes or military or law enforcement or whatnot. Athletes in particular. One of the best athletes I ever trained was a young lady by the name of Angelina McGuire from New Jersey here. She was a softball player. She played at Immaculate Heart Academy, which is kind of a softball factory down here. They pump out a lot of kids to D1. And she ended up playing in Fairfield, Connecticut, Division I. And she by far was one of the best athletes I've ever trained. I mean, whatever I asked her to do, athletically, she could perform it, and she just went at it like totally 100% in. Right. I can name about 5 NHL guys that I wish worked as hard as she did.
I know, totally. Hey, get a question for you regarding training. How often do you work out your legs, your lower body?
in days of old, I would do, one day heavy, one day light, especially if it was a really heavy deadlift day. I'd probably wait about 10 days before I did another heavy deadlift day.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah, you really need to recover.
right.
As it is now, because I'm not interested so much in strength as I was back then. I would say that I do legs 2 to 3 times a week, but it's more like kettlebell swings. And honestly, Tom, when I'm doing like what I do in terms of boxing or the Filipino martial arts, there's so much footwork involved. You're doing a lot of one leg lunges and things like that you don't really.
Right. So although it may not be a direct leg day that you're doing, your legs are incorporated.
Correct.
Work.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I'll pick 2 days a week where I just really get at it with kettlebell swings and snatches and all kinds of stuff like that.
I know we talked about this. I used to look at people doing the kettlebell swings like, what a waste of time, right? But then when you get in there and you do it, man, that's a great exercise. Your whole body workout is.
Yeah, if you do high rep, like I'll do 50 to 75 reps, like kettlebell, only like 30-pound kettlebell, but 50 to 75 reps, you're getting some serious, you're hitting your anaerobic threshold for sure. You're tapping out. And there's definitely an effect without a doubt.
So you'll do 50 to 75 reps in one set?
One set, yeah. Yeah.
That's the way you prefer to do it, as opposed to like 5 sets of 12 or something?
Yeah, well, I'll change it up. I mean, but that's so what I'll do, Tom, like I think it was Saturday. I'll do some high pulls with the dumbbells, which is really kind of get involved with your hip flexors. So for those that aren't familiar with a high pull, it's about a shoulder width grip with either dumbbells or a barbell. And you get into what I call the huddle position, where your hands are on your knees and your back's in a good angle, and your hips are broken, and you kind of explode up. And as you explode up, you thrust your hips forward, and you kind of come up on your toes. And as you do, you pull that weight up to here, so that
Gotcha.
Let me go this way. Get a little confusing. So your elbows are even with your shoulders, and you finish here, and then you go back down. And they're great for 2 reasons. One, it's an explosive movement. It's a really explosive movement. And then secondly, you're really, as you know, I like to do 70% pulling as opposed to 30% pushing for shoulder integrity.
Right.
So anyhow, I would do like 8 or 10 reps of that. And then I grab the kettlebell and do 50 reps, catch my breath, and I do like 5 sets. And in 20 minutes, I'm blasted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And will that be your workout on those?
That's it. Days? Yeah. I mean, I may do some skill stuff after that, like some shadow boxing or something, but that's at that particular point, the bulk of my work, because like I said, it's anaerobic. So you're really getting some great cardio, and I love the explosive stuff. And the reason I do, especially for day-to-day living for everybody, life is explosive. We don't do reps. So you're not going to stand, taking out 1,000 packages out of your car. You're going to take out 10.
Yeah.
At about a $5,000 clip right now. But anyhow, but you get my point. And like, even more so, if I have to pull somebody out of a car, or I have to pull myself up over a fence, if I got a dog chasing me, that's really explosive. I got to really be able to create what we call pretty close to absolute strength very instantly.
Interesting. We were doing our mid-season kind of meetings with the girls, and there's a couple of girls that great girls, really dedicated to me, but they're skating. You just tell they're just not strong enough as people just to skate properly. What do you recommend? I mean, there's the skating treadmills, there's the sleds, there's all those different.
I've had experience with all of them. In fact, the skating treadmill, did extensive work here in New Jersey, and then over in Russia, same thing with the treadmill. I kind of like, not so sure. I don't know what the direct effect of the skating treadmill is, if there really is a transition or a carryover to on ice. I think it's good in the sense that I could stand there, or you could stand there, and you're not moving. So you can watch someone stride and tell them where they're breaking down. So I think from an analytical standpoint, it's very good. I don't know how big of a transfer there is to on ice, other than obviously the obvious, which is conditioning, because you can skate uphill on those things. It's really cool.
Right.
I would say,
does it strengthen your legs though?
I don't know if it necessarily strengthens them. I think it's more of a conditioning aspect, Tom. And again, you could work on someone's stride as a coach. I think for strength, the obvious answers are always the same: squat and deadlift.
Right.
And then incorporate a lot of those explosive movements, and like I just explained, the high pull. So what I would do with my athletes, we do a strength movement. So we do 5 reps in a squat rack of that like say 85 to 90% of your 1 rep max. Immediately after your 5 reps, step out of the squat rack and then do 10 or 12 explosive knee tucks where you're just jumping as high as you can, pulling your knees to your chest. Because what you're doing there is you're working on your strength, but then you have to apply it. And that's the nervous system.
Right.
And one of the most overlooked aspects of training for sport, especially in explosive sports where there's a lot of stops and starts, is the firing of the nervous system, the neural, being able to fire up as many high threshold motor units as possible instantly. So we have low threshold and we have high threshold. The difference being low threshold is picking my phone up and looking at it. High threshold will pick this phone up and throw it as far as I can. Mm-hmm. We tend to always innervate initially low threshold, but by doing that explosive training, you're teaching your nervous system to bypass low threshold, go immediately to high threshold. So if it's a stop and start, if I stop and a transition goes the other way, I have to be able to immediately be explosive and do a crossover, what I need to do to get going in the other direction.
Sure. Oh, cool. And for people who don't know the skating treadmill, it's quite a thing. It's so it's artificial ice, that plastic.
Yeah.
And the treadmill is probably what, 10, 12 feet wide?
They're fairly wide. It's a kind of a rectangle.
Right. The guy put you in a harness. You're in a harness. You get your skates on.
Yeah.
And like Mark said, you go up and you can have different angles. My son actually did it. So he got into high school, Rye High School. He was a goaltender, and they had 5 goalies. He wasn't a great skater. He chose goalie, but he wanted to play on the high school team. And to his credit, he went up to the skating treadmill up in Blue Streak up in Stamford, Connecticut.
Yes.
All during the summer, and it was like 3 or 4 times a week skating on this thing, and really did improve stride. But the big thing was it was a great lesson for him too, that the coach more picked him because of his work ethic, then because he was in such great shape and knew that he'd done all this. It was a great lesson for him as a person too, because he probably would not have made the team, but he worked so hard that he made the team. He realized now in business and life in general, that's how he conducts himself. If he doesn't know something, he'll go work hard and learn it. And he's been very successful in business. And I've talked about this before, how great hockey can be, and other sports too, but to really teach people life lessons. It was a great lesson for him too. So.
Well, you and I both personally know one Navy SEAL or 2 that really couldn't swim, became Navy SEALs.
Yeah.
So that's just hard work and dedication.
Yeah, it is funny hearing those guys talking. One guy, he's the guy from Utah or something, right?
Yeah.
I hate swimming. And you think about SEALs, that's their life, right there in water. And to be that dedicated.
Yeah, it's a big part of it for sure.
Yeah. Although I hate swimming. And he said, I hate swimming. I hate being in the water. He's a Navy SEAL. So, yeah.
Well, the beauty of the treadmill also, Tom, is that you have an opportunity to skate over speed because you can, they go up to 25 miles an hour and you can't get hurt because you're in the harness.
Yeah.
So that's a great training aspect to it. The company that, and I think Blue Streak also had the same manufacturer, Woodway, makes the treadmill.
Yeah.
And I have a good friend of mine. He's a Russian. I did some work in Russia with him, and they're working on, or they have now, treadmills that are huge, where you can actually get on with the bike, like the guys that do the Tour de France. Mm-hmm. And you could have 2 or 3 guys on the treadmill at the same time.
Oh, wow.
So we're working on a military application with a large treadmill that we can have, and they have a smaller one now. The tread actually has boulders on it.
Oh.
Yeah. And we're working on a version of a really like one that can rotate. That'll be 180 degrees, I believe, with obstacles.
I see.
Yeah, and we're working on a system that it could be in a bubble where we can change temperature. We could do climate training. We could do all kinds of really cool things. Yeah.
Very cool.
It's pretty interesting.
Well, that's the stuff they can do now, right? I mean, we talked this before. I was down in, this isn't something new, but I was down in Virginia Beach with the SEALs down there, and we got to do that simulated parachuting, right? Where you're flying in the air. That was pretty cool. That was good.
Well, they also utilize now, Tom. I know a lot of the special force guys. They have computer programs where it's like Call of Duty, but it's much more realistic, and it's a lot of breaching rooms and things like that. And they find that it absolutely has a training effect, doing this type of thing. Yeah.
I just want you to know that every morning I hate you. Okay.
Okay. That's all right.
You're the one that
you're not the only one.
You're the one that suggested getting the cold shower going. Health wise, you've explained how it's beneficial, but also like getting out of your comfort zone. So if everyone wants to try it, it is funny how it really, for me, it really does work. So you're sitting in that warm shower, especially now it's cold out. You've been outside, maybe in a walk or whatever, and now you get in the warm shower and you're nice and comfortable, and you're relaxing in there. And then you got to say, all right, got to turn that cold shower on. Oh man.
Yeah. Doesn't it get you like, boom, you're ready to rock. Yeah.
Totally. And then like you challenge yourself too. You try to stay in there as long as possible. You're as cold as possible and stay in there as long as you can. Yeah. And what I've learned too, it's like, don't make a big deal about it. Like I talk to myself now, just relax. It's just ice.
Trust me, there's nothing big about it.
Yeah. Oh man.
No, nothing big about it at all.
Oh, I know. Yeah, you're right there. That's true.
But I tell you what, though, when you get out there, you're not cold. It's a weird thing. Like when you step out, you're not cold. Right? Definitely. You go in there.
What does it do for you physically? There's a bunch of benefits for you too, right?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure exactly what the. I know the benefits personally. I don't know. Physiologically, what occurs. The guy to study, and I really should be trained up on this, is Wim Hof. He's a Dutch dude, I believe. Wim, WIMHOF. If anybody wants to go on YouTube, there's a ton of content. He's a guy that runs through the Antarctic with like just swimming trunks on kind of guy. Oh, yeah. And he really has done all the research, and he's without a doubt the top guy to take a look at. Yeah.
Yeah. Because there's all those ice baths that everybody does. There must be some benefits. I'm the same way. I haven't really researched why.
Well, the ice bath is that's a different. I think that's more for total body inflammation.
Right. So Bill broke 2 ribs. He wants to know when he can get back on the ice. Come on, Bill, suck it up. Get out there right now.
Yeah,
no,
the ribs take forever.
I know.
And the problem with the ribs is the fracture itself, and then also you may have a little bit of tear in the cartilage between the ribs.
Right.
And that can be forever. Now, when I was with New York, we were in Ottawa, and Mess came off the ice. I had to go to the hospital with him. He had just turned wrong.
Yeah.
And he couldn't understand what was going on. And he had kind of ripped or tore a little bit of the cartilage between the ribs.
Oh.
Yeah. And that was a Hockey Night in Canada game. So it was they followed us out to the ambulance. I got a lot of phone calls like,
really?
What'd you do to him? What'd you do to him? I said, no, it wasn't me. I didn't do anything to the guy. But
I did that when I was in college. I went down. The puck was coming up the boards in the offensive zone, and I went down to pinch in. And for some reason, I went down low to make sure I blocked the puck. And the guy came in and kneed me, so it pulled my shoulder way back, separated my shoulder, and it popped a couple of ribs off my sternum.
Mm.
Oh man, that was. I mean, I had a separated shoulder, and I knew it was separated, but the pain from that wasn't near what the ribs get popped off.
I don't advise either thing happening, but in some respects, you're better off just breaking a rib than tearing that cartilage, because every time you move, you're breathing and everything like that. I probably 3 or 4 weeks ago already, I was sparring. I don't know why I did this, because probably shouldn't be doing it at my age. But anyhow, I got in there with a guy, a young kid, 25-year-old, and he hit me with a really good body shot. When you're in the midst of it, you don't feel it because you're just And I still feel it a little bit now in the ribs, and that's a bruise. That's not a fracture.
Totally.
Because again, every time you move,
Are you friends with this fine gentleman here, like William Kondratiuk? He's a pain. I don't like him at all. Are you buddies with him?
No, but I guess I am now. He's a Yankee fan. But hey, Bill, I got bad news for you. I'm actually a Mets fan. This is more of a fashion statement.
Right.
And plus, Met fans, we got to kind of fly under the radar. We don't want too many people to know that you won't see me wearing my Jets jersey too much either.
And we're very
Bayonne, New Jersey. All right. Hey, Bill, do you know a guy by the name of Frank Barone out of Bayonne?
I don't know. He knows everybody. Well, he doesn't know anybody but Larry Melnick. Bill, he's friends with Larry Melnick. He doesn't
I see the PBR. They're always pumping PBR.
Oh, he does know. Yes, he does know.
Oh, he does. Yeah. So I coached with him at Montclair State.
Oh,
great guy. Vietnam vet.
Oh,
yeah.
Very nice.
So great guy. Yeah.
So have you ever thought about writing a book?
I actually did. Yeah. Because the problem with it is, Tom, I don't know how you feel about it, because you obviously could do much more, but it would, if I wanted to write a book about the athletes I've trained, and I don't know how cool that would be with certain guys, like how they would feel about it, especially when you start talking about locker room stories, although they're funny as hell, some of them. You just don't know. And I wouldn't want to have anybody get the wrong idea that I'm trying to.
I know. Yeah. I'm right in the process, and it's taking a lot longer. It's interesting because, it's like everything else. They go, I'm going to get it done in a month or whatever. And I've got a writer working with you, great guy.
Yeah.
And, we don't know each other that well. So he doesn't know all the stories. So we're trying to get it done for Christmas. And it's just, I'm realizing, if you go back, like I want mine to be really like people learn lessons from mistakes I've made or things I've done and how I handle it. It's not, I don't want it to be about me. There's some funny stories, but there's also, again, it was interesting because he was really good at when I tell him things that have happened, kind of gone through my life, and then he would say, "Well, Tom, why did you do that? Or what were you thinking? What would you think afterwards?" All those things. So it was really made me really look back at my life more and hopefully pass some things on too. So it was, so I guess the bottom line, it's we add more and more, and again, and thanks to people like you too, I've always got new things to add to the book, new experiences. Like I said, going down to Virginia Beach with the Navy SEALs, doing the swim across the Hudson with the SEALs, and I've learned so much. I know we talked about this in the past. The SEALs are those type of people that really teach you like to learn, right? I mean,
right.
You learn from them, you learn, and then you realize, well, geez, I can learn from everybody that I come in contact with, right?
So I'm working on. So last year, I think you recall Thursday before the swim, I had about, I don't know, 10 or 12 of the SEALs down at Prudential. We went on the ice and they skated around as best they could. We had a really great time. And there's a rink in Flemington, New Jersey. It's a single sheet, but on the other side is a full training facility. But in that training facility, they have that Ninja Warrior obstacle course.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah. And then in the middle of the rink, there's a bar, restaurant, and they have Topgolf, about 3 or 4 stalls of the Topgolf.
Oh.
So what I'm trying to put together is for the Warriors, having the Capital Belt Warriors, the team out of Washington, come up for a weekend. We'll play hockey. We'll do the Ninja course. We'll play the Topgolf. It all adds up as a cumulative score, right?
Oh, nice.
And then there's a baseball field right there. So we could do a softball game. But what I'm thinking out loud now, maybe I'll schedule it right before the swim or close to it and get some SEALs to go through that Ninja course as well.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
Against our guys, just to see how we match up against them.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
And when are you going to Wisconsin? You're going to Wisconsin for some time?
Yeah, in a couple of weeks. We leave on the 10th. And just so you get a better understanding, I'll tell you what the weather there this week is. It's not good. Currently it's 1 degree.
Oh.
And Wednesday night it's going down to -18.
Wow. And it's all outdoors too, right?
Completely outdoor. Yeah. So I got the schedule. There's got to be 50 teams coming.
Right.
Because there's so many different divisions. I mean, there's a Division I, a lot of guys that play Division I college hockey, minor pro division, but it's a 4 to 7 man roster. And the way it works, it's 2 halves, 2 15-minute running time halves.
Right.
And I got an email with all the rules. You got to get there a little early because it's your duty to clear off the ice, to shovel it off before the game.
Oh.
And I think I can only imagine. I've seen aerial pictures of it. There's got to be 20 to 30 little rinks that they just.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. That is. I've seen that picture too. That's pretty cool.
Oh, it's going to be a blast. It's going to be a blast. And we have a day in between. So we're going to either go snowshoeing or snowmobiling or something. We may even play a little curling. I've never played it. I heard it's a lot of fun.
Okay. What have they got a Zamboni that get out there on the ice too and do the rink?
No, I'm saying your team has to get there a few minutes before the game, and you got to shovel off.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. From
the last game. Yeah.
I saw a great video. I think it's Facebook or Instagram about an old one of those old machines where they had to walk around like they had a big barrel that just basically was a barrel and they had holes
cut in half
under a cloth and that's how. And I remember as a kid, that's how they used to do the ice before the Zambonis were there.
Yeah. I've seen older pictures at one of the older gardens with the guys walking around with that.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
So the Zamboni was actually a Jeep. The first one was a Jeep.
Oh.
The guy Zamboni who invented it, he took it was either Korean or World War II Jeep, and that's what he made the first Zamboni out of.
Oh, very cool, man. So Zamboni is a brand name, right?
But that was the guy's last name who invented it. Yeah,
that's right. Yes. Zamboni, Mr. Zamboni, famous guy in the hockey world, figure skating world.
We had a guy here. In fact, we're going to this particular rink tonight, Menin Arena in Morristown, New Jersey. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be there tonight. They arrested a guy drunk driving the Zamboni.
It was Larry Melnick. It was Larry Melnick.
It was Larry. Because it's a county rink, so you got the county sheriff's department, and the guy, I guess, was just slamming into the boards and like, "What's wrong?" And he was drunk. and
Oh,
he got a DWI on a Zamboni.
Are you serious? Really?
That takes talent. That's world class
Did the
talent.
cops really come? They really come?
Yeah, because they're, like I said, it's a county rink, so there's always, when you have a high school game, they got the county sheriff's department there just in case nothing breaks out, right? And I guess in between periods, this guy was not doing real well. They pulled him over and said, "You okay?" And they probably smelled the alcohol on him, and that was it.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's excellent. We had so I coached the men's high school hockey team about 17 years ago, in Greenwich, where I'm doing the women's team now, and I guess I was oblivious. But our bus driver, I remember him driving, and like really, he always seemed to be straight and everything like that. But he foot in the gas, foot in the brake, it was always like, I guess I just got so used to he's doing our games all the time, driving us. And at the end of the year, finally, I don't know how we got the subject, but the boys go, well, he was drunk, coach. He was drunk every time. Our bus driver got all these kids on the bus, and I didn't think to ask what was going on with the guys.
Yeah, I coached my older son, Sean, 4 years of high school. Well, all through his hockey, pretty much, but high school. And our bus driver was phenomenal. So we had him at the hockey dinner, every year. Oh. Yeah. The guys, all the kids loved him. Yeah.
Oh, good. We didn't have our guy to dinner at the end after that.
Yeah. He'd have been at the bar at the restaurant.
Yeah, totally. So we had two big wins. We won 7-1 on Saturday. We had another game yesterday, won 4-1. So we're in the FCAC playoffs at Fairfield.
When does that begin?
End of February, the playoffs. Yeah. So we got a few more games that really are
throwaways.
Yeah. I didn't know they did it that way. It was I don't think we did it that way in the past with the boys team, but it's interesting. So the girls are good. Really excited. I had a game yesterday. Whoever won that game was going to be in, and the other team was going to be out. So
that was really a playoff game yesterday.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, there's not supposed to be any hitting.
Yeah.
And there's one girl in the other team. She's a good player, but she's pretty rambunctious too. She's pushing it, and our players were not standing for it. They went after her. And it was fun to watch because, again, I had to be careful as a coach because I'm loving it, but you're not supposed to encourage that kind of play. But wow,
I was up at Twin Oaks. Bruce Driver coaches for years now. The Morristown Beard, it's a prep school. Their girls team, and I think we had practice or something. But I was up there and I'm watching the game. I'm going, and they were playing a team from Connecticut, by the way. And I'm like, after the game, I said, Bruja, I thought there's no hitting.
Yeah,
they were getting at it. Yeah.
Wow, with that attitude. So the girl that was roughing up with a couple of our players who were pretty strong players too. Another one of our captains in defense who kind of is a steady Eddie, like she's a really good player, leader, a whole bit. She just had enough. She went. The girl that comes to the bench says, "I don't care." She just was like,
yeah. When Sean was about 12, we had two girls on the team. Jackie DiPieri, who ended up being the captain of Brown.
Oh.
And then she played for Calgary in that professional league in Canada.
Right.
She was the toughest kid on the team by far. And then we had another young lady who was pretty good, Swedish girl. And again, it was at that 12 to 13 year age. And I kind of was looking around the room. I said, I think we need to get her own locker room. Because the boys were starting to fight over who gets the dress next to her.
Oh.
Yeah. So I think we better get her own room.
That's funny. Yeah. All right, everybody. So good to see our buddy here, Mark Puttenvik, against Patriot Training Systems. You can find him at, you can train anybody. You can do it virtually. He trains a young guy out in California, I think, right?
Marshall. Yeah, great kid.
Good job.
By the way, I'd like to, much like you, Tom, I'm really big into inspirational quotes and everything.
Yeah.
So I was watching something on YouTube. It was martial arts, but there was something in the back that really caught my attention. And it really applied to sports. It applies to everything. Organize the chaos. I really like that.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
it's cool. Yeah. I like that. Very good.
That's my new motto right now. Organize the chaos.
I like that. I think my favorite one I don't know if I got a favorite one, but I use it all the time. I got my son and his wife actually bought me a plaque. Anything in life that is worth doing is worth overdoing. I love that.
Very true.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Sometimes people, you get that. I know you're kind of, I use this as a good word, kind of an extremist, right? If you're going to do something, you're going all out. It intimidates some people all the time. And I've learned to say to people, I'm sure you're the same way, listen, you don't have to be like me doing stuff. You just get better and better at what you're doing every day.
Compete against yourself.
Yeah, definitely. So, all right, everybody, have a great week. We'll see Mark again next Monday at 11:30. See you guys.
Okay, guys.